In this module, we will talk about the hypothesis testing of OLS estimates. That is, once we have obtained the OLS estimates, how can we derive conclusions or statements from those estimates? The contents of this module are as follows. Firstly, we will talk about the classical linear regression model or the CLRM. Using that, we will talk about the variance of OLS estimators. Then we will talk about the Gauss-Markov theorem, and finally we will lay out the basic methodology of doing hypothesis testing. So the steps in regression, if you were to put it, would be to first obtain the OLS estimates alpha and beta. The methodology for doing this has been laid out in another module that we have talked about. Now let us talk about the classical linear regression model or the CLRM. The classical linear regression model says that the population regression function yi equals some function of x1i, x2i, x3i, which are all independent variables. Under the assumptions of the classical linear regression model, this model is linear in its parameters. That is, the powers of beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3 or any other coefficients is equal to 1. And it is correctly specified. That is, all the relevant xi's or independent variables are there in the model and there is no extra variable. Secondly, the independent variable xi's are all non-stochastic. That is, they are given already and they are not variables in the model. Thirdly, the expectation of the error term is 0. That is, expectation of ui equals 0, which also means that expectation of ui given xi equals 0. Fourthly, the variance of the error terms ui square is constant. That is, the variance does not depend on xi's, and for all values of xi, the error terms variance ui square is constant. This also means that there is homoscedasticity or that there is no heteroscedasticity. The fifth property is that the error terms are uncorrelated. That is, the expectation of their cross product is equal to 0. This is also known as lack of autocorrelation. That is, the error term for one xi is not related to the error term of another xi systematically, and that any such relationship will be a coincidence. The last assumption of the classical linear regression model is that there is no relationship in a linear form between the independent variables. That is, some xi is not related to another xi. For example, if we talk about the distance run by an athlete in kilometers and the distance run by the same athlete in centimeters, there is a linear relationship between these two variables, and hence when we talk about the assumptions of the classical linear regression model, there has to be no linear relationship between any of the xi's. Now, going back to our steps in regression, if we are ready to assume that the classical linear regression model is valid, then we can say that we will obtain the variances of the OLS estimates alpha and beta, and that the OLS estimators are best linear unbiased estimators, that is, they are blue. So let us first talk about the variance of the OLS estimates alpha and beta. We will not give the mathematical derivation of the variance, but will only give the formula. So if we have a sample regression function which is yi hat equal to alpha plus beta xi, then the variance of alpha equals sigma square, which is the variance of the population error term ui, into summation xi square, where x is the value of the independent variable, divided by n times summation xi square, where the small x is the deviation of xi from its mean value mu x. Similarly, variance of beta equals to sigma square divided by summation of small xi square. The sigma square here is the variance of the error term in the population regression function. However, the population regression function itself is not known to us and we are trying to estimate it, and hence we will not have the value for sigma square with us. In this case, we use an estimate of sigma square, which let us call it sigma star square. Sigma star square is equal to summation ei square divided by n minus k. Remember that there is a difference between sigma ei square and sigma ui square. Sigma ui square corresponds to the population regression function, whereas sigma ei square corresponds to the sample regression function, and hence is only an estimate of sigma ui square. We divide it by n minus k, which is the degrees of freedom of ei square. In this case, since we are estimating two coefficients alpha and beta, hence k equals 2 and n is the sample size. So in the formula for the variance of alpha and beta, when we are talking about sigma square, we will actually use an estimate of sigma square, which will equal summation of ei square divided by n minus k. An important corollary of the classical linear regression model is the Gauss-Markov theorem. The Gauss-Markov theorem says that given that the assumptions of the CLRM are satisfied, the OLS estimators alpha and beta that we have found out are blue. That is, firstly, they are linear. Alpha, beta 1, beta 2 are all linear functions of the random variable y. Secondly, they are unbiased. That is, the expected value of alpha, beta 1, beta 2, etc. is equal to the actual population coefficient. That is, on repeated sampling, we will obtain the average value of alpha, beta and beta 2 will be as close to the actual population coefficient. Thirdly, they are efficient. That is, among the class of linear and unbiased estimators, the OLS estimators have minimum variance. That is, if we take any linear and unbiased estimator using some other different methodology, the OLS estimators will have the least variance in that entire class. And hence, if the CLRM is satisfied, what we are basically saying is that the OLS estimators are the best estimators that are available to us. Finally, let us talk about the probability distribution of OLS estimates, because once we assume the central limit theorem, we can say more about how alpha and beta are distributed. So what is the central limit theorem? The central limit theorem states that if there are a large number of random variables that are first independent and second identically distributed, then the distribution of their sum tends to be a normal distribution as the number of such variables increases indefinitely. In our case, since the ui's in the population regression function are independent by assumption and are identically distributed, hence their sum will tend to be a normal distribution. And since alpha and beta are linear functions of ui, hence alpha and beta are also normally distributed. So what the central limit theorem helps us do is to say that alpha and beta, which we already found out, have a particular variance which we have talked about when we talked about the CLRM, and are normally distributed. So this completes the pictures of alpha and beta that we have been building thus far. And now, since we know that they are normally distributed, we can carry out hypothesis testing. So the steps involved in hypothesis testing, firstly, is that you set up the null hypothesis. Say we are testing for the slope coefficient beta. We say that beta equal to 0 is our null hypothesis. We choose a confidence interval of 1%, 5% or 10% depending on what margin of error we want to leave. The test statistic in this case will be equal to beta minus expected value of beta divided by standard error of beta, which is the same thing as we do for any normal or t distribution. Hence the test statistic becomes beta by sigma star square divided by summation xi square and whole root at the denominator. However, since the denominator here, which is the standard error of beta, is also an estimate and is not a population function, hence since we are using an estimate of sigma square, the z that is the test statistic in this case follows a t distribution and not a normal distribution, and it follows a t distribution with n minus k degrees of freedom, wherein k is the number of explanatory variables in the model, in our case which is 2. Once we calculate the test statistic, we will get a certain value for z. And if this value of z lies outside the acceptance region, then we will reject the null hypothesis that beta equal to 0. And hence we can say that beta is not equal to 0 and it is significantly different from 0. It might be positive or negative. In some cases it might be the absolute value of beta that is relevant to us, while in some cases it will only be the direction or the sign of beta that will be relevant to us. This brings to an end our study of hypothesis testing of two variable OLS estimates. After this, we are going to talk about multivariate regression, functional forms, dummy variables, and violations of the classical linear regression model. As you've noted, we have all these analyses are based on the assumption that the classical linear regression model holds. But what if one of those assumptions is violated? That is, for example, what if the UIs are not independent? That is an important topic that we will deal on later in this series.